Okay, for this project, we are going to be needing our oil pastels and our watercolors and your watercolor paper. So we are doing cherry blossoms, and you'll also need a paintbrush and a glass with water in it. Don't fill it to the tippy top or you'll spill it. So the very first thing, this is what it's going to look like at the end, is we're going to draw our moon. So you'll need a glass that's empty, and you want to put your moon kind of near either end. And I'm just going to trace lightly with my pencil so that I know where it is. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this when I pick it up, but it's going to be right here. So before we paint, we're going to draw our branch and put in our cherry blossoms. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in there. So our branch is going to be coming from the edge. And we want to start with our black oil pastel. Now it's usually fatter at the edge and then it gets skinnier as the branches go. And you do want some of them to come over your moon so that it looks like the moon is going to be behind your branch. So I'm going to make my branch kind of wide at the end, and then I'm going to draw my branches out, and I'm going to try to get skinnier as I go. And they can go in any direction because that's how branches go. You could even put some here. Now, when we get back down over here, we do want the branches to make a bigger, fatter branch, so they do come together at some point, and you do want to make sure that it looks like it attaches over here. So it has to go all the way to the edge because this is where the tree is. You can't see the tree, but it's coming off the paper like that. So I kind of made it flare out a little bit. And then my branches get skinnier at the end and they break off a little bit like that. Okay, and I want to make sure that I push pretty hard because this is the silhouette of the branches. All right, and they kind of come over my moon. Now, we're going to go back and we're going to put in cherry blossoms. That needs to go a little bit thicker there. Okay, and we're going to just put little dots kind of in clusters like this, wherever you want. Little cherry blossoms along the branches. Now, sometimes cherry blossoms have a little bit darker center. This is why I had my red out. So I'm going to go back with my red and I'm going to add some darker spots in the middle. And you might want to add like that. Okay, so then I'll go back and right in the center I'll put a little red dot. Just a tiny, not red, but we want the blossoms to be mostly pink, but I'm going to just make the center just a tiny bit darker. Just like that. Little dots. Now, the next part, and make sure you push hard with your oil pastel. This is kind of like the crayon resist. So we're going to do our sky behind but we want the moon to be lighter. So what we want to do is we're going to, and you can mix your color. If you just have blue, you can just use the plain blue, but if you want it to be a little bit more like night sky, then we might want to add a little bit of black. So what I'm doing is I put the color on here and then I take a tiny bit of black and mix it in. So then it becomes a little bit darker than just plain sky blue because this is kind of, the sky is dark when the moon is out, so we want the sky to be a little bit darker. Okay, and then I am going to draw my circle with my darker blue around where I drew that moon. And remember, you can go over the top of your oil pastel because it's a resist. And then what we want to do is rinse our brush. And we're going to just go along the edge and blend that line out a little bit. You don't want to paint the moon blue. You just want to take plain water and then you're spreading it so that it's just a little bit of blue, just like that. Then you're going to take your darker blue that you made by mixing in a little bit, and we're going to color the rest of the paper with the darker blue. But no more in the center of the moon because we want that to stay light. Okay. And you're going to add some water, add some paint around the edge in circles so that it looks kind of like when we did the ocean with the shark. And then you can add some darker in different spots because sometimes it's and you want to cover the whole paper because we don't want to leave any white except for where the moon is. And if it's not dark enough, you can paint over it with a little bit more. And I'm going to add a little bit more black just to make it seem a little bit darker. Now, if you want to make sure that you can see the rings around the moon, you can go back in and make some curved lines so that it looks like it's kind of, but if you go back and forth over it, it gets rid of those lines, so you got to leave it to dry that way. Okay? And there we have it, our moon with our branch, our cherry blossoms. I can't wait to see yours.